What we got, Dan?
So we've got the XE ESP here. Not something that we normally do. It's starting to get a little bit more involved in the later Falcons and stuff like that. The XE range. These are kind of the GT of the XEs.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, we've got this one in. It's just been pulled out of a shed and a bit of dust on it and cobwebs and so forth. And we're going to go over the car mechanically.
Well, welcome to a new Dave's Classic Garage Tours video, and yes, you heard him right. Mr. GT himself claiming the ESP is the GT of the XE range. So without further ado, let's meet owner Brian on this first Barnfind episode for the channel.
How long's it been in the garage?
Good question.
Oh, right.
Quite a while.
Quite some time, eh?
Yeah. It was a treasure at first, and then other things got in the way, you know.
Yeah.
So we got a couple of other vehicles.
Right.
It's sat here ever since.
Yeah. And what year is it?
It's 84.
84. Right, okay. So how long did you have it?
I've had it since 94, I think.
94 you got it. So the idea is just get it back up and running?
Yeah.
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 And what sort of usage will you put it to then once you've...
It'll just be a general car.
Oh right, you run around, yeah.
We've got more time.
Right, okay.
Inside now.
Yeah. So, and this is a 4.1,
4.8.
no, is it?
4.8.
4.8, is it? Right, okay. You'd be okay with the petrol prices.
Have to be, don't we?
Yeah. Are you coming across many of these sort of, like, having to pull old stuff out of the garage?
10 years ago, we used to come across a lot of it.
Yeah.
We really now.
Not so many barn finds down there. Or shed finds or garage finds. And this is it's dual fuel. This one, isn't it? You got LPG on it. That's right.
Yeah.
Will you leave that in there?
Yeah, well,
If it's still
that'll be part of the discussion.
right, yeah.
How are we?
All right, how are you?
Some air and some tyres.
Yeah.
Might be a challenge.
Yeah. So Brian, what's made you want to get this one back out again now?
I suppose it's just to get it up and running again before I'm too old and dry.
Right. And there were no issues with it at all when you just parked up. They're still everything's running fine, and when you parked up.
But yeah, well, when it was put there,
Yeah.
I'm not sure about it now.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Yeah.
Time to remove the first resting place.
Okay. That rear wheel's not turning. Rear wheel's not turning. Up, yeah. Yeah, that's locked on as well. That's dragging on this side.
Oh, let me reset.
starting to turn. That wheel's turning now.
Turn the other way, Dave. Right hand down.
Beast. Oh, what a beauty. What a beauty. Right, well, she's on. I expect those tyres will be out of date, even though they've got plenty of tread on them, which is a bit of a pity. Be good for drifting.
Quite sunny day, but at least you've got to see some daylight.
Yeah.
Must be nice to see the up to daylight again.
Yeah, well, I'll see you back there. Thanks for letting us come along, and then well, when it comes back, I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, certainly will.
Nice drives in that.
Yeah.
Prepare yourself, get some looks, and lots of people coming up to you and talking about it, I expect. What's your usual car? That Jeep there, or
Mine.
yeah, the little Hyundai. Yeah. It's got a good car there, eh?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's.
Well, it's another juicy one, though, eh?
Yeah, it's probably going to get some work done on it too.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a collector's piece now as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, I'm into Jeeps and I'm into
Fords, right, okay. Oh, you're sorted there. Okay. Well, once again, Brian, thanks very much.
Okay.
Take care, and I'll see you, maybe see you over the next time when you come and pick it up or whatever. Take care.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
First thoughts.
Need some work. That's the first thoughts.
What do you reckon of these things?
I like them. I like them a lot. Yeah, they're cool. Cool looking cars.
Yeah.
I like the 80s stuff.
Yeah. That's
Something different as well.
it's definitely something new for the shop,
Yeah,
eh?
something different, yeah.
I mean, as the supply of these things dries up,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to be doing more.
Yeah, that's right. And we've done a couple already,
Yeah.
but this is, I think this is going to need a bit of work, but
Yeah.
I reckon it'll come out pretty good. It's not a bad looking car. It's not too run down on the paint.
No, that paint's going to come up, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's got a bit of a fix here, hasn't he? Done?
Yeah.
Is that bomb?
That's-
That's
Yeah, it's got filler.
Filler
Probably a bit
in
of
there.
humidity.
Yeah.
But it would actually come out not too bad.
But his seats are all right, aren't they?
It's all original.
Yeah.
Looks like it's all original. Got the original head unit, cassette player, equaliser.
Yeah,
It's pretty
yeah.
cool. Very 80s.
Yeah. I'm glad he's left that in. I'm going to look for. What do you reckon?
Always liked the XE.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never closely looked at one before.
Yeah.
It's quite exciting, really.
Cool. Ah.
Got some of the nicest seats from the 80s anyway in those cars.
shield. Where am I?
Is it 4.8, did he say?
Be 4.9, I'd say, yeah. And that 9. It's a dual fuel car too, so it's on gas and petrol.
Right.
We'll just leave that on the dash.
Yeah, I'll grab it off you. Thank you very much, mate.
So, were you saying you didn't go along because a dual fuel in particular, you wouldn't be able to
be harder
crank
to start.
it? And,
yeah, be harder to start. Dries up a lot of things.
Yeah.
Sort of really got to go over it thoroughly before you start
Trying to
crank it and all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus. Don't look like the.
And if he wants to keep the gas, see, another thing is when you, because it hasn't been started for so long, it'll have to get the gas all rechecked out, gas tanks, stuff like that, the mixers.
Yeah.
So all that stuff has to be checked out before it can become roadworthy again. Because they actually date them. So once they run out of that date, they've got to be.
Oh right. What, the whole system? Or?
Whole system. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay.
Only valid for a certain time.
Don't look like he's had any mice damage
No, luckily.
in there.
Not too bad. It's actually a clean engine.
Yeah.
Like, it's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Can't believe you got that size rear tyre on that wheel. Because you've got a 265 tyre on a standard size, standard width wheel.
Right. So that.
Very, very bulgy.
Yeah.
255, or I think it's a 255. 265, 50, 15 on a standard 15-inch wheel. That's gold. Very balloony.
Yeah.
What's this paint at the back?
Digging these headrest speaker system things going on.
Yep, that's factory.
Are the speakers
Yeah.
factory?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, because they were hidden. There was a bit of mesh there, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Oh, that's a pity.
Either that or they had a 6-inch. I can't remember what they had.
It was a bit minty. Oh, that's locked up there.
Is it locked up? Yeah. Haven't missed it.
That headlining is a bit manky just here.
Probably got a water leak.
Yeah, just in there, suddenly. Yeah, have a look.
That's all right, I can see this. Oh, yeah. Shit.
That's all sun damage, is it? Hasn't.
Sun damage, yeah, could be sun damage. Hope it's not, hope it's not water damage.
No, that's water actually.
Yeah, because it's come through the seal,
You can
I'd
smell
say.
it. Yeah, you can smell it. Yeah, that's a pity.
Like this centre console's in, mate.
Oh, that's a bit mouldy on here, see?
The interior is really good, other than that, though. Very good condition. Like, guys would kill for the interior like this.
Yeah. No cracks on the dash, no?
No.
Oh.
Centre console's immaculate.
What a wicked.
It's a really good interior,
Wow.
yeah. Door trims are pretty good, just need a good clean up.
The dials on the. All the dials down the bottom there.
Oh, yeah, it's that bit of peeling.
Oh, what's it say? I can't.
Which one? Around here?
No, the dials on the stereo there.
Oh, on here?
Look at that.
They've got like an equaliser, yeah. Just a graphic equaliser. That was a factory thing.
Well, you don't see the display. Well, no, you don't use a display. You got 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Wow.
But a lot of this would be faded
Right.
on an older car. This is really good on this car.
Yeah.
The dash, steering wheel's pretty good. Door trims are really good, just need to be cleaned up.
Yeah.
I don't know what this driver's seat's like. It looks like it might be a little bit.
You can have a bit.
Oh no, it's not too bad.
Oh
no, the driver's seat's good, yeah.
Yeah, it's just protecting.
This is looked after.
What's that? An alarm system under the handbrake there? Over there?
This that'll be for the gas.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be to flick it over.
So the Fairmont, the ESP on the the sports pack, this isn't it? This S pack.
ESPs were based off, from what I remember, Falcon or a Fairmont. Sorry, off a Fairmont. Sorry, off a Fairmont. They're based off.
This
a
is
Fairmont.
a Fairmont.
Yeah, this is a Fairmont. So
Yeah.
that's what they're based off. Yeah.
Right. But that orange line there.
Yep, that's the ESP line.
Right.
Then there was an S pack that had the orange line. They didn't have the mould. They had the orange line that ran into the S at the back.
Oh, of course. Yeah. That's
so
what
you
they
could,
were saying.
they were
Yeah,
you could get them. So you could get an S pack in a Falcon or a Fairmont setup sort of thing. So yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But ESP ran off a Fairmont chassis. So yeah.
Yeah.
That other thing's fucked over there. Nah, I
Yeah.
can't get any higher.
Not getting any higher. We need some oil.
Okay. Join Dan for the underside. What we got, Dan?
So we've got the XE ESP here. Not something that we normally do. It's starting to get a little bit more involved in the later Falcons and stuff like that. The XE range. These are kind of the GT of the XEs.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we've got this one in. It's just been pulled out of a shed and a bit of dust on it and cobwebs and so forth. And we're going to go over the car mechanically.
There's a rise in interest in these one now.
Definitely is, yeah. Definitely popular now.
Yeah.
You'll find, you know, once one sort of car gets out of the price range of most people,
Yeah.
and then they look for the next thing.
Yeah.
And it's even going through the EAs, EBs, the ED, XR8 Sprints, all
Right.
that stuff now.
Yeah.
It's gone through the roof.
Right. So where's this assessment start?
So basically we've got these sheets here that we've been working through to create for Ghia and Tourer, and this is on all cars, and there maybe some are just general service works. This one's like a major service sheet. This one's a vehicle recommissioning sheet. So we'll work through and it'll tell us what we need to do and stuff, and it's more so for the guys as well that haven't had a lot of experience in working on these cars that have come in to recommission them and get them back on the road. So trying to make it easier on all the guys to be able to work through all this stuff and know what they've got to look out for when they do. So we note all this stuff down. So it'll tell us all these different tasks we need to complete on this job to make it easier. And we can write all our notes down and then give them to Dave, and he can contact the customer and let him know what he's found with the car, including photos and stuff like that. So he can actually visualise what we found with the car.
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
So that always makes it easier.
Yeah. Definitely. Okay. All right. Well, what's first?
So first job on this one, we'll go through and I think we'll pull the wheels off and have a little bit of a look at all the wheel bearings, brakes, so forth, so we can start reporting some of that stuff down on our sheets, and we'll check it all out, see what we find. Anyone who knows these Falcons knows about the door handles. Generally, most of the time, the driver's front's always broken. You can't get in, so usually you've got to go in through the rear.
Oh, really?
But this one actually works, which is a good thing. Okay, so one of the first tasks we're going to do on the car, we're going to check the car internally and make sure it's been in storage a while in someone's shed, so we're going to make sure there's no creepy crawlies or any of that stuff. So we're going to do a bit of assessment on that, make sure there's no cobwebs or so forth, because one of the things, boys working on the cars, last thing you want is you're working under the dash and you know, get bitten by a spider or something.
Absolutely.
So that's going to be the
Australia
first.
after all. Okay.
Yeah, if it all looks okay, we'll just leave it, but if not, we might have to put one of those chemical bombs inside the car, just for safety reasons. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any spiders or anything. Bit of a musky smell from inside, like it's been a little bit damp at some stage.
Yeah, you got a bit of mould on the door there, on the door handle.
Yeah, mould here. So I think from a safety point of view, it's fairly good. I can't see any cobwebs.
Would you not be worried about because the spores coming off that mould? Would you clean it up and that before you?
Yeah, definitely. I think we need to go through the car and clean it.
Yeah.
Basically clean it all over. I think it'll probably need. Also have a look inside the boot, and haven't checked in there yet, so we'll see if there's any issues in there.
It's still a fair sized boot, even with a gas tank, eh?
Yeah, it's quite good.
Yeah.
internally it doesn't look like it's got any rust or anything around that area, which is good. You'd be worried about stuff like tail lights. They start to get a bit of rust or whatever behind them.
Right.
Then they start leaking into the boot.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all the areas we've got to have a look at. And
Yeah.
all looks quite good.
Dry underneath there as well. Carpet's good.
Yeah, that's all dry, which is good. The factory sticker still on there. I'd say it's had some paint at some stage. You can see a little bit just on that boot latch there.
Oh yeah.
And a little bit on the wire here. So at some stage in its life it's had a little bit of, you can just see maybe just a little bit of rust forming there.
Right.
Overall though, it's quite a dry car.
Yeah.
So I have to be careful with stuff like this. It's starting to block up a little bit, that drain hole.
All right. Yeah.
So we'll need to clear all those out, make sure for future, just to preserve the car. That side looks good. Yeah, they're the areas we don't, if they get blocked up, it'll start rusting out the boot lid inside if it gets water in it.
Yeah.
It's been sitting a long time. You can see all that's all cracked through. And
Yeah, 8 years, Dave reckons. Which, but I was saying, when that paint up there, sort of blister in there, but it didn't have a covering on it there, on the sides.
yeah,
You'd think it would be
just
but it's only-
humidity
it's only
blistering and stuff. Yeah.
right, is it? Yeah. I suppose that.
Might even find if in the garage it was kept in, if it's a little bit damp and stuff in there too.
Yeah, I guess it was. I'd imagine that. Yeah, that would have been. That would have been. Anyway. All right. So what we're going to look out for first?
So most of the stuff's going to be mechanical on this one for now. We sort of want to recommission the car and get it up and running and driving and go through the brakes and fuel systems and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
Make sure everything's in top condition.
Yeah.
If anything needs sort of a rework or whatever.
Okay.
Even down to the carb, you might need a rebuild. It's been sitting a long time.
Sure.
Stale fuel in the car. So they're all different bits and pieces we're going to look. So the first thing we're going to do is start checking out the front end and see what we find. So one of the first things we'll do, we'll check while it's got the wheels on. We want to check all the ball joints for movement and all that sort of stuff. Wheel bearings and bits and pieces.
Sure.
And then we'll pull wheels off, have a look at brakes and so forth, go from there. Both those ball joints look quite good. They've got no movement in them, so that side's good. We'll check out this side. See what we find. So there is a little bit of movement there. You can hear that clunking, but that'll be in the wheel bearing preload. I can see that there's no movement in that ball joint. Generally, you'll find with the Falcon, you go through 2 top ball joints versus 1 bottom over its life. The tops always flog out more.
Right.
Bottoms sort of wear out a little bit less.
Yeah.
So yeah, this has already had ball joints at some stage in the top. So we're just checking those, looking for up and down movement, which is no movement there. And these ones generally I check and just move them sideways.
Yeah.
But that's only the wheel bearing. But we're going to go through the bearings, we'll pull the rotors off and everything, knock the bearings out, check them, make sure there's no pitting, maybe give them a re-grease. If they need replacing, we'll replace them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now we've checked them, we can go through and pull the wheels off and have a look at all our brakes and everything, check that out, do an assessment and get back to the customer with a report of what we found.
Cool. So you're not going to use a rattle gun then, Dan?
No, not on these cars. We like to not use rattle guns if we can avoid it. Just for protection of wheel nuts and stuff. They've got a black coating on them.
Yeah.
So you'll find most wheel or tyre shops, they'll just buzz them off with a rattle gun and round them off a little bit. So we want to try and be as careful as we can with these cars and
Look after them,
try and preserve them for what they are.
Sure.
So just pulling these wheel nuts off. It takes a little bit longer this way, but it's well worth it, because this is the reason why. When you take a nut off and you get someone with a rattle gun, they'll start to chew all these edges, round them off. That's not what we want with a car like this.
Yeah.
Try and keep the condition of everything as it was new.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so these Yokohamas, they were certainly were popular, that brand and what have you.
Yeah, especially in the 90s. Everyone used to run Yokohamas, they were the tyre to have. But nowadays you rarely see them.
I'll do with a new arch on the other side one day.
Yeah, I think so. We're just going to pull this one off and have a look behind it and see what we find. As you can see, a few little cobwebs and bits and pieces, but this tyre's pretty shot.
Yeah. Sort of dragged out a part of the way.
Yeah.
This garage.
So these are all the areas we need to be careful of spiders and stuff if we're seeing a few cobwebs.
Yeah.
So we'll pull all these axles out, check all the wheel bearings, make sure everything's in good shape, especially because it's been sitting if there's been moisture in the garage. Don't want stuff like that to have maybe surface rust on it, and when it gets used it's going to be not long before it sort of buggers up and you might get down the road 500 k's and then wheel bearing starts to get noisy. So
Sure.
we'll tackle all those items now, check the brake pads.
Yeah.
I think we'll do a full sort of disassembly of all the brakes and pistons and seals and bits and pieces.
Okay.
Make sure the brake pads are up to scratch.
Yeah. How much left on them, you see?
Got a little bit left on them, but Right, we'll pull this front wheel off and have a look what we find under here.
No spiders in the back of that one, though.
Be careful and have a look, and nothing in there, which is good.
Looks all pretty clean up there.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It looks to me like those pads are not far off being to metal. They only got a tiny bit of meat left on them. So I'd say that's got a bit of a lip on there, so we'll get micrometer and we'll measure that one up and make sure it's within spec.
Right.
I'd say worst case, if they've got a bit of meat on them, they can cop a machine, bring that surface area up nicely again.
Yeah.
If not, we'll replace the disc rotors.
Yeah. So you can feel the. Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a lip on there.
Yeah.
And you can even feel it's not completely smooth. It's got a bit of ridging in the
Right. Yeah.
in the surface area. So yeah, we'll check all that.
Okay.
We'll check all the bushes in here. It looks like it's had new shockers at some stage. This is going to need replacing. It's all torn.
Yeah.
Ball joints are good. We'll check all the arm pivots and everything, make sure all that's operating good.
Okay.
Yeah, doesn't look too bad though.
Cool. All right. So you're getting underneath? You
Yeah,
got stuff
we'll
to
have
do?
a look
I'll
underneath
I'll
and,
go through with you.
There's going to be plenty of stuff, I'd imagine, just things like bushes and joints and that, everything that's dry and cracked, and we'll be going through checking universal joints and changing oils and go right through the whole car front to back.
Okay. So let's say this was coming in for a roadworthy now to get on. What would you be picking up on now straight away?
Definitely the oil leak, so that's one thing we're going to have to go through. We'll give it a bit of a steam clean underneath, and once it's driving and everything, we'll have to assess where those leaks are coming from.
Yeah.
Obviously, because it's blown back everywhere, it's very hard to determine exactly where it's from.
Yep.
So, you can see
Right. Yeah.
from there, sort of this area, it's sort of stuff blowing back. So, yeah, it's very hard to determine where it is exactly. So unless you clean it and then you drive the car, and then you can pinpoint where those leaks are coming from.
Okay.
And we'll try and keep it all so it's all factory correct stuff. We don't want to put anything that's going to devalue the car, because that's part of the history of the car and what it's supposed to have. We need to make sure all that stuff that goes back on is all kind of exact to original.
Right.
Because it can devalue the car. There's even stuff down to ball joints and You know, we've probably shown you before all the factory rivets and stuff like that. Like, if we're going to replace this, we don't want to put just a generic ball joint in. This has the part here of the joint that sticks down,
Right.
a good 1.5 inches or whatever. Most of the new ball joints don't have that capping, but we can get these period correct type ball joints. So if we're going to replace a ball joint like that, we'll drill out all the rivets and we've got our machine out the back and actually rivet the ball joint back in and put the correct type of ball joint, because we want to retain this car as original as we can. So even down to the paint, that'll be something we'll assess after we've done the mechanical side of it, depending on the owner's budget and where it lies with doing all the correction work mechanically, and then we'll assess the paint.
What sort of money would you be thinking, would you cap this sort of thing at to make it, you know, where it's still worthwhile? Value.
Yeah, well, that's another thing you've got to look at too, because you don't want to overspend on the car where it's to the point where you're over-capitalising either. So I think if we try and maintain costs on, you know, making the car as nice as we can get it without blowing the budget out the water. So they're all things we need to work through with the owner. And
Okay.
yeah, so in the engine bay, some of the things we're going to look at, this car's been sitting for a long time. It's going to be things like fan belts, so we're going to pull all those off, check the condition of them. We're going to be looking for cracks, because you'll find they'll start to perish.
How's that one looking at? Yeah.
Doesn't look too bad, but not until what I like to do, I'll pull them off and then I'll fold them back on themselves, and then you'll see if there's cracks or anything, they'll open up.
But at this sort of age, wouldn't you just, I mean, at the cost of a belt, would you just replace it anyway, or?
Yeah, I'd like to, on cars like this, because last thing you want is the customer gets down the road and then a fan belt lets go or whatever. And that can be...
It's only a matter of a few dollars and you've got it off anyway.
Exactly.
Inspection,
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, we'll check all that stuff. Common thing on the Clevelands, thermostat, you can see it's got some corrosion there, down in there.
Right.
One other thing, generally every motor that's been sitting a long time, and I can see a little bit of corrosion there, the fitting that goes in the block.
Why does it look so cluttered now compared to the X? I mean up to the XE and whatever. These engines now. We've got much more.
Probably this one being on gas, so you got your converter with all the hoses running across, which would clear a little bit of the clutter in the engine bay.
Yeah.
It's got the power steering and all that stuff, so generally if it's been sitting, you know, it's things that you want to look for, even like water pump bearings, you know, all that sort of stuff can be things that are a bit of a concern, you know, because it can be running and then you might find 2 months later it might pack it in.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to have a general going through the brakes. You can see a bit of stuff forming there. In general, we'll have a look at the condition of this, see what the fluid's like. This will all need a flush just to go through it, and it's well and truly stuck on there on the side. You can see it in there, all the sort of sludge and stuff starting to form a little bit.
Yeah.
So it'd be good to overhaul all the braking system. And also another thing, you can see that reservoir there's a bit low, so obviously fluid's going somewhere.
Right. Take the torch off it and probably, that's it.
Yeah, you can probably see it better there. A common thing I always do is I have a bit of a feel underneath the booster, because they can leak internally into the booster. So I'll give it a bit of a rub underneath, and as you can see there, that's where the brake fluid's going. So it's leaking internally out of that into the brake booster. So we'll go through, flush all the cooling system, check all the hoses, all that stuff, all the perishable items, because all this stuff will be most likely that's hard as a rock.
Right, what we got here?
Alright, so we'll put a meter on this and see if she's got any life, which it doesn't look like we've got anything there. Not even 1 volt.
No.
I'd say she's well and truly Had its day.
Yeah. So I won't be seeing that stereo sparking the life today then. A few weeks, you reckon, to get it back?
Yeah,
to...
definitely, yeah.
Cool. All right.
We'll get it all moving along. And
Hop on back, see how you're getting on. Nice one, mate. Thank you very much.
thank you.
For your time.
And if you're in the Melbourne area and you have something interesting hidden away you wouldn't mind showing the rest of us, please get in touch via either of the socials, or you can find a link to my email in the About section here on YouTube. If you love this video, you're going to absolutely love this one. So click on the screen and watch that, and I'll see you in the next video.